Melissa has finally gotten the bag in a store. The store is in Brooklyn. It's called the Grand U Market. We brought it there yesterday. So the Bamboo Project is currently stocked in the store right now. It's kind of crazy. All this money, you spent $200,000. I have spent maybe $4,000 on courses for real estate and other things such as that. You went to school for $50,000 for what? You're not even how you spend $50,000 for a get rich slow scheme? Welcome to the Bamboo Project Podcast, where you will see how we turn our life into a living. So I want to start off by giving a shout out to the Bamboo Project family. I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in every week. This may be your first episode, but for everyone else, this is episode 47. And if this is your first episode, you have a lot of catching up to do, okay? For people who do not have YouTube Premium accounts but still want to listen to the podcast, you can find the audio link in the description below. We are streaming on all major streaming platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, Radio Public, Castbox, Overcast, and Pocket Cast. And for everyone who is listening to the podcast and not watching it, you can find the video on our YouTube channel, okay? The name of the channel is... I'll give you a second to guess what that is. The Bamboo Project, okay? We currently have over 300 videos on our channel of lifestyle vlogs, tips on makeup, hair growth, basketball, real estate, music, and everything us, okay? If you want to see how we get all these things done, all the behind the scenes, all the BTS, you can follow us on social media. Mine is Donivan Gray, DONIVANGRAY, and my amazing, beautiful girlfriend, who is the host of this podcast, is Anita Byrne, ANETABURN. People who are new, okay, we have a lot of different projects. We're going to get into that later, too, all right? And for all those projects, there's an Instagram attached to it, okay? We have the food project. We have the music project, the clothing project, the fitness project, the sports project, and the Bamboo Project podcast, which you're listening to right now. If you want to preview what the episode is going to be about, you can find the timestamps for it in the description, whether you're listening to it or watching it on YouTube. Today's date is February 9th. It is 2:57 p.m. It's a little late, but, you know, we're coming to that a little bit later. We'll talk about that later. This podcast has 4 segments, okay? We have the life update. That is when I will talk about what happened to me over the last week. Then we have the second segment, episode playback. I have already went and listened to last week's episode, and I'll have my opinion on what I thought about it, and I'll give that to you guys here. Third segment is Donovan's questions. I've been told that, you know, I'm very profound, almost philosophical, okay? So when I have these philosophical thoughts, I want to present them to everybody else. So I present in a question. Donovan's questions. And then we have the fourth segment, which will be the topics for the day. And today's topics will be how I feel about school and what it does to you as far as being great. The arbitrage business, which is something that's kind of large, which is strange to me. It's weird, but I'll come into that later. And remembering what the news or the job of the news actually is. So people who are new, life update always comes first. I'm going to take my water break. Give me a second. Melissa has finally gotten the bag in a store. The store is in Brooklyn. It's called the Grand U Market. We brought it there yesterday. So the Bamboo Project is currently stocked in the store right now. It's kind of crazy. It's all a part of the plan. Everything's going very well. It's a new tote bag, which you could probably find on, is it on the website, on Instagram?
Not yet.
No, it's not on there, but you might see a picture of it on either on her page, my page, or the Instagram page. So we brought 3 bags there. It's kind of exciting. We found out today that somebody actually from across the street who I think is the owner of the coffee shop. The owner of the coffee shop wants to buy the bag. Now that's great. That's great. We gotta build that connection with them. The store that is in Brooklyn is currently holding Melissa's bag, and they are selling it. And we have 3 in the store right now. We were actually talking about this morning, trying to figure out how we would go about distribution of the bag, because Melissa makes all of the bags herself by hand with her sewing machine, and she stitches it by hand with her hands. So it's really hard to mass produce something like that if she's making it by herself. And then what happens is there's a weird level of how much you can produce versus how much time you have to put into that production, as in also how much you have to actually sell. What I mean by that is, right now Melissa made 3 bags. She can make 3 bags. She could probably make 5 bags in a day. Now, what would happen if somebody ordered 45 bags from her? That would be very hard for her to make 45 bags, right? However, 45 bags is not enough to get it mass produced either at a good price. So she's in a weird place where it's like supply and demand. This is why you guys gotta learn economics, which is why people don't give out free money. It's why it's bad. So if Melissa decided that she had to make 45 bags in a day, she would have to increase the price of the bag so that she can then pay herself or have enough, or pay somebody else to then sew the bags for her. That's what she'd have to do. Also, she, like I said, she can't make all the bags by herself. So we're trying to figure out how many bags would she have to make a day for it to be sustainable going forward. So we're thinking about, okay, will she just make it and do direct to consumer from Instagram or Shopify or Facebook or something like that? Or would she in turn put it in different stores? So probably make 3 bags here, 3 bags there, 3 bags there. So then when each store asks for 10 or 45 bags, she can then get a better price by having somebody else actually make all the bags and then just kind of profit off it that way. So we're trying to figure that out. That's what we are with the Bamboo Project clothing. It's exciting. It's exciting. She made a custom bag, which is mauve. We actually have a vlog about that too, we are so backlogged on so many videos.
Tell them about my computer.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that wasn't on my list, but yeah, sure, I'll bring that up. So like I said, we're backlogged on mad videos, right? So one thing I think is kind of interesting, I watched a video, if you guys know about Graham Stephan, he is a real estate dude on YouTube, like the guy that's really famous on YouTube for that. He was on somebody's podcast. The podcast that he was on decided to make a video on how much money they make on YouTube, right? And they were saying that they had got 3 million views in a year and they made $4,000, which to me is ridiculous. That's insanity. And on top of that, or addition to that, they did 2020 where they made $16,000 and they got 5 million views, right? And they put up their watch hours for the year. And I don't even think that's, do you have to maintain 4,000 watch hours or you have to maintain 1,000 subscribers? For YouTube?
I don't know if you have to maintain anything.
I think you have to, I think every year they check to see if you have a certain amount of something to keep going forward, or you won't be in a partner program anymore. But I think because here's the thing, they got 100 plus watch hours in 2019, and then they got 400 plus watch hours in the following year. Maybe that was video per video. I feel like that had to be. It couldn't be. It wasn't a video. It had to be the whole thing. Either way, they got 400 watch hours in 1 year, right? And they made $16,000. To me, that's insane because we'll do those kind of numbers because our videos are a lot longer. And oh, my shoulder just started acting up. Oh, I'm about to die. I might be having a heart attack. Oh, my shoulder. So I'm like, damn. Imagine we not monetize because we don't have 1,000 subscribers. But we get a lot of watch time because the videos are kind of longer and we have a higher retention rate on YouTube. So it seems like we would make a lot of money if we were monetized. So that's just kind of something that's really cool. And like I said, we still have a lot of videos. We post a lot. The videos are long. People watch them. They're entertaining, educational, things like that. So we had the vlog for Melissa and I going to the market the first time. The second time, we have the Atlanta vlog that still hasn't gone up. We have backlog cold call videos. We have Melissa's birthday. We have, there's so many, and I say cold call videos, there's probably like 45 cold calling videos that we don't even have posted yet. And I'm still making more videos on that. And then it's just a lot of videos. I just think that's crazy. So what happened was Melissa had tried to upgrade or update her, what is it called? Her laptop to Big Sur. I have already said this before, I think on the podcast. Maybe I haven't. I will never upgrade to Big Sur ever again. I tried that once and my computer almost had a heart attack. Melissa decided to do it for her computer, but she downloaded to the Seagate, and then the Seagate was full, so they had to like split it up. The Seagate did it by itself by splitting it up and then putting part of what she was. It's crazy. It's just ridiculous. It's called partitioning. Look it up. It's not what I knew. I had to learn this when it happened. We had spent a couple of hours trying to figure it out because we had thought originally that all the information that she had on the Seagate was lost. She has a bunch of videos on there of sewing, of cooking, of singing, of all just a whole bunch of backlog videos. And we're like, damn, it might be lost. We were considering buying a new laptop, and we're like, damn, right around the time we have to put out more videos, all this stuff got deleted. So we were up for hours trying to just figure out how to fix that, what was going wrong with it, and we ended up getting it to finally work. But in the meantime, she had bought another Seagate, which is an external hard drive, which is coming in today, which is 8 terabytes. And we're going to take everything off and put it back onto that because right now it's just like where we don't have any more space. We have 3 external hard drives, which total about 8 gigabytes, 8 terabytes. And then...
It's not working.
What do you mean it's not working?
I can't use it right now.
You can't use what?
The hard drive. It's not because it's full. I can't access the files. I guess not.
I mean, okay. Here's my thing. Okay. This is my question to you. Is the specificity of that important?
It's not important. I already knew he was going to say that.
But this is okay. The reason I'm asking that is because it happened on the last podcast too, like multiple times. And what I'm trying to avoid is you feeling like you shouldn't talk, but you correct me on small things that don't like matter to the storyline.
Yeah, because I forget that you're telling like a story and not necessarily exactly what happened.
Yeah. Let me see. I mean, do you get it though? Like, 'cause I don't want it. Like, I don't want it to be like I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying that because I guess it's just because now I have to think about what you're saying, and then you'll be like, okay, it was Saturday, not Sunday. I'm like, okay, and I gotta stop and go, okay, it wasn't.
I'm not saying that that's because if someone in the comments wants to help or give advice on what to do, that's not the problem.
Well, I talked about the partition thing earlier.
But that's not the problem. I mean, sure.
That's the issue. It's partitioned, so it split it in half, and it's only using one part of it. It's not using the other part of it. That's why it's in the other however it splits it. It did that and put it somewhere else inside of Seagate.
You said that it's. I mean, like it's a story, but you said that it's fixed, and then we just need the external hard drive for extra space. But that's not why I need it. I can't access it, and I have to format it.
So how are you gonna get the stuff off?
On the external hard drive.
So you need more space.
Okay.
I'm like, is that not? I thought you got the 8 terabytes to take it off because we don't have space on these. You wanted to put the 2 terabytes on that one.
The way that I heard it, it sounds like you're saying that we ran out of space on this hard drive, so we just need to add another hard drive, right? But I have to back this up on the other hard drive in order for me to use this one. So
Yeah.
It's not like this is unusable. I could use it, like, if it wasn't in the condition that it's in.
So, but okay, my thing, we don't have enough space for you to format that.
Yeah, we don't.
Okay. I mean, but what I'm trying to ask is, do you understand what I'm talking about when I say the small things? You're saying sure, but I'm not trying. Like, this is.
It's not. It's incorrect.
I know it's incorrect. Or I don't even know if it's incorrect. However, what is correcting it? How does that make anything better? Like, how does that make it either the story or the podcast or anything improve?
I don't know what you want me to say.
I'm just trying to just have a regular conversation, and I feel like it's not gonna go like that.
Because like I thought that more or less that's my job.
this is the issue I was talking about before, is where I don't want you to feel like not to say anything, but I feel like, because like I said on the last podcast, it happened like 5 times where it was like, it was little things that I'm like, okay, so now every time as I'm talking I gotta go, huh, oh, okay, so we do have space, so we have space on it, all right, so what are you saying, okay, and then I gotta go back, and then I'm like, I can understand if I had said like, you know, the Seagate, I don't know, like it's like telling me the name of the Seagate is.
But I shouldn't have suggested that you said anything about it.
What do you mean?
Because it's not something that's happening to you, so you don't. I mean, it sounds incorrect to me because it's happening to me. So it's not something you're planning on talking about.
That's true, but I'm talking more so about the details of it. I don't think like, because I'm thinking of an example. Eric Thomas, he'll be talking about he'll give an example like, yeah, you have to be strong, and you remember how Harriet Tubman sat on the bus and she was the one that didn't, and it's like, you don't want to cut him off to be like, hey, it wasn't Harriet Tubman, it was Rosa Parks, when he's like preaching in the sermon or something. Because he go, okay, my bad, it was actually Rosa Parks who was in the chair, not Harriet Tubman, my fault.
Yeah.
But do you get what I'm saying?
Sure, but that's live. This is recorded.
But I mean, but do you get what I'm? Okay. So what do you think is the difference?
That, I mean, I don't know if it's not that important to you. So if your importance was on making it 100% accurate, then that would be something that you would want to redo or make sure that it's not construed.
But this is my thing. My thing is, does that detail matter to what's being said? Because what I'm getting to is that we have to now get a new hard drive. Like, and now because we have all these videos backed up, we don't have any. We can't make any videos. Melissa can't do any work on the videos because of this. Is there a specific way of why the Seagate is not working, as opposed to it being a storage issue or a partition issue? Does that change the fact that you cannot work on the Seagate? So I said, it's like if I had said like somebody stole the Seagate, that would be like, hey Donovan, I didn't drop it, somebody stole it. I'm like, wait, somebody stole the Seagate? You'd be like, yeah. I'm like, oh shit, that's crazy. I thought you just dropped it. That's what I'm saying with that. So I still feel like you like get what I'm saying. All right. Let's see, what was I? So the 8 terabyte Seagate is supposed to come in today. So we're going to actually be able to finally back up all of the stuff onto the 8 terabyte Seagate, because we have no more space on any of the hard drives we have left. We have 3 external hard drives right now, and we probably have maybe a couple. Right now we have a couple gigabytes. We have to go in and then like clean some stuff out, but we need to definitely clear a lot of that stuff up, because we have laptops from like 2013, 2014. So at this point, it's kind of just like, they're old. I think mine stopped working yesterday doing some weird stuff. We can't update them because the new updates are 16 gigabytes or 20 gigabytes. So we can't do that. And we have to walk around the house with the external hard drives attached to the laptops. It's just ridiculous. So now we're trying to figure out, okay, how can we, kind of get around that? So we're going to end up when she had bought a Seagate. So I say all of that to say that I just think it's interesting about the whole the watch hour time thing. So it's just something that I kind of wanted to bring out there. So when I do come back to this in the future, I'm like, I want to see how much money I make off of videos that have longer watch hours like that one. And yeah, that is one of the reasons why I have the podcast too. It's a lot of patterns that I kind of wanted to be able to see in myself, and you can't really see the patterns of your life if you're far away from it, or if you don't actually have history of what happened, because you'll do something and then you'll forget that it was done. So now that everything is recorded, I have people who are watching it. I have Melissa, I have myself, and now that it exists out there, I can go, okay, I remember that I talked about this before in the podcast, or last time I was in a similar situation, this is how I acted when I was presented with that problem. And now I can see the patterns. One of those patterns is how I get when I spend money. So I've noticed that I don't like spending money. I'm not really a money spender. I don't like to buy a lot of small things. Like I won't buy clothes. I don't really like spending money that much. However, I have no problem spending money on things I think will make me more money or that will produce or increase my what is it called? My efficiency or my productivity, right? So as people may or may not know, a while back I bought a table. It's a floating table, cost like $1,000. Because at that time I said, you know what? I feel stagnant, and I think that making this purchase will allow me to get out of my stagnant feeling. After that, I believe I bought a $100 course for the same exact reason. And albeit they did have benefits to doing it, I think that I don't think the net benefit was high enough for the amount of money I spent, especially on the table, because I could have gotten a different table for less money. But I really wanted the table, and I bought it because I had the money to buy it, and I was stagnant, and it did increase productivity because now we have multiple tables in the house, to be exact, for me to work on. Melissa could work on the other one, and we can get things done. So last week I talked about buying Dodgecoin, right? And I had said that, and this is a really silly mistake that I made. So I bought Dodgecoin, right? Spent $2,000 on it, and the next day it dropped. I lost like $1,400. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. I didn't plan to put 2,000 in. It kind of was an accident. Robinhood took out more money than it was supposed to. I'm kind of just like, sheesh. So I'm like, damn, that money was supposed to be used. Well, the $1,000 I had already planned. If I lose it, I lose it. But the other 1,000 was supposed to be used to go to Atlanta, right? So I'm thinking, if I can get the 1,000 back out and put it back in the bank account, we'll be fine. Like that, I put 2,000 in. I put an extra 1,000 in by accident. If I take out 1,000, everything will be good. So for whatever reason, I don't know why I thought that was gonna work. It didn't work like that. So I ended up selling when the stock went back up. The Dodgecoin stock went back up to over 1,000. I took some money out of it. Took 1,000 out and I put it into the account. So I sold some Dodgecoin and left 1,000 in the Robinhood account so that we had the 1,000 back that I thought we had actually lost from before. Here's why I messed up. I had owned $23,000 worth of Dodgecoin. When I sold the $1,000 worth of it, I didn't actually sell half of the Dodgecoin I owned. I sold $1,000 worth of Dodgecoin. This kind of comes similar to that. What is that? With that analogy where it's like 1,000. What is it? 100 pounds of feathers and 100 pounds of bricks, something like that. It was actually told as heavier. And I felt like it felt similar to that because people always assume, oh, it's 100 pounds of feathers would be lighter than 100 pounds of bricks, but they're the same thing. Now, I equate that to what happened to me is because I thought, oh, if I split it in half, which is the reverse of the analogy, that if I take out the 1,000, I'll be right back where I started at. However, instead of going down to 11,000 Dogecoins, what would be called, I actually only have 6,000 now. So what I was supposed to have done was I was supposed to have sold half the amount of Dodgecoin that I had, not half the amount of money that I had. And that's where I messed up at because I sold half the amount of money, but because the stock went down, I was fucked up. So now I pretty much solidified the fact that I lost that money because the stock price went up and I had told myself that it was going to go up and I was going to make the money and I didn't wait. Now, the reason I say it's one of my spending patterns is because, or one of my habits, when I was sitting on the bed looking at the stock price go up, I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, I could probably make more money if I get in on this. I'm like, yo, it's going up, I still have money in there. I could put some money in there and it'll go back up or wait till it goes back down and buy more. But I'm like, no. Melissa and I decided that the $1,000 I took out, we're going to just use for something else. We're not going to put it into that. We're going to leave it alone. But the fact that my body felt a very strong urge to want to do that is what bothered me because my body almost felt jittery. Like I'm like, oh, I need to do this. I'm feel it's the FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. I'm like, I'm going to miss out on a lot of money if I don't buy Dogecoin. I know it's going to go back up at some point or go up higher than it was before. Side note, I bought it at like 73, 74. I think today or last night it was at 80. So if I had kept my money in there, I would have made more than the 2,000 that I had. I probably might have had 2,300, 2,400, something like that. I definitely would have had more money than the 1,400 I have in there right now or 1,500 I have in there right now. And like I said, the patterns that I exhibit, I can see them on the podcast. And one thing that like I said, why I created the podcast is because when it gets a lot bigger, there'll be more people to tell me, hey, Donovan, you remember last year when you said you was going to do this and you didn't do it? Yeah, what happened to that? Or do you remember every time that you run into a problem you don't like, you spend money? Or do you remember every time that you talk to Melissa, you say this? These are the kind of things that I want people to be able to point out to me and go, okay, because if I'm living it, I'm not going to always see the mistakes that I'm making because I'm actually in the moment. So because I have other people who can hold me accountable for it, now I can actually go, okay, I can actually see now what's going on. And that's just like another thing for the podcast. It helps me to kind of keep myself in line and not swing too far right or too far left and making too many bad decisions. At least, let me not say too many bad decisions, not repeating the same bad decisions. So now, after I realized what was going on and how the decisions that I make when I get like that, I had talked to Melissa about it. I'm like, hey, I realized when I'm sitting in the bed, I really wanted to buy I really wanted to buy it. And I'm like, why is that? So what I think happened is whenever I feel stagnant, I want to spend money because I think that will get me over the hump to the next level. And I haven't decided whether it's a bad or a good thing. I don't think it's yes or no, black or white. It's more of a how much percentage of bad is it? Like I said, I think I spent $100 on a course before for the same exact reason. That didn't affect me as much. The $1,000 didn't really affect us as much. However, I still don't like the fact, like I said, that I felt very jittery about wanting to buy more of it. So we talked about it. And like I said, now that I made her aware of it, I'm like, hey, this is what's going on my end. She's like, okay, now that I can see that, I can be able to adjust what I'm doing on my end, or as far as her, what happens when me, Donovan, is feeling like that or going through that. And it's more, it's easier to observe or to assess what's happening. So like I said, that's a good thing that's happening. Now, as far as, I talked about this before, this guest coming on the podcast, I had one guest that was supposed to come on the podcast, and we had to reschedule for next week, right? Which is not a big issue. However, this was supposed to be one of the wholesale videos. I had a guest who was supposed to be on, a virtual guest, and he just never responded. Like, he used to say, hey, I can come on the podcast and do a thing with you guys. I'm like, all right, cool. He did like 40 plus deals. He was on Brent Daniels' page. He reached out, said, hey, I want to come on, do an interview with you. I said, cool. Text each other, had a time. Everything else was set up to go. And he doesn't respond for like 3 days. And then texts me or Instagram or DMs me and says, guess we missed the interview. And I'm like, guess we missed the interview. He said, my apologies. I'm like, guess we missed the interview. That's the bet. That's what you, after you don't say nothing for 3 days, you just say, guess we missed the interview. I'm like, yeah, I'm not really rocking with that. If he wants to still do it, I'll do it. But I'm already turned off from that because I know other people who are listening, who are just doing wholesaling. It'll benefit them to hear the perspective of somebody else who's in it whole time and who's in it full time. He's actually, I thought he was a wholesaler, and it seems like he's not actually a wholesaler. It seems as though I want to talk to him about this. He is the person that does the calling at a bigger wholesaling firm or company. So he says he does cold calling for hours on hours on hours on hours a day. So I had a lot of good questions I wanted to ask. So maybe if it does happen, I'll put it on here. Who knows? Now, you guys know I'm trying to move to Atlanta, right? And let me see, how would I even do that? Yeah, so I want to move to Atlanta, and I'm trying to figure out what we could do until then. That's going to be 6 months from now or so, about 6 months. Sometime in the summer. We're waiting for my credit to get up so we can actually, or my credit and the business credit to go up so that we can actually make these moves, and it will be a lot easier, and we'll get funding for these things. So I'm thinking about selling my bike, and I have 2 bikes. They're like $4,000 each. One of them has all the stuff on it. The other one is kind of torn down. There's nothing really left on it. And I'm trying to get rid of them. I think that will solidify me as a bike messenger. Like, that chapter of my life is done. And I'm just going to get rid of the bikes. And I think it's just a monumental thing for me because for the last 5 years, I've had bikes. Like, I've had all kinds of bikes problems. I had electric bikes. I've had regular bikes. I've had all types of different electric bikes and different regular bikes. So this is going to be 2021, the ending chapter of Donivan Gray as a bike messenger. And I'm gonna use that money to, like I said, to definitely invest in wholesaling right now. Put some to the side for Airbnb because we're working on a website, and I want the site to be a lot better. Which is why I bought a book on selling, which not selling, it's on storytelling. That's what it's on, and it's like it was recommended to me by somebody on Clubhouse. And it's called Story Brand. It's supposed to be, I don't know if I have it in here anywhere. It's over there. But it's called Story Brand by, I think, David Griffin or something like that. And you can look it up. I find it very interesting because in the book, they said that every single story has 7 parts to it. One part, I believe, it's the characters, the first part. I'm trying to remember everything. Characters, the first part. Second part is the problem the character has. The third part is the character meets somebody who's a guide, who teaches them something. Then the fourth is what the guide gives them. Yes, maybe. 5 is, I forgot them again. See, I always forget them. It's 7, but pretty much they were saying that every single story that you watch or movie that you watch, a book that you read or anything like that, they're gonna always have these 7 situations that happen every single time. So while I'm reading a book, I'm not done yet. I'm gonna change the intro to the podcast because I want to incorporate more of that storytelling into the beginning of the podcast. Because I want to see how much it works, if it's beneficial, if it makes this podcast sound any better. From what I read, I liked it. It talked about somebody listening to the podcast. So people who right now are listening, they're going to be like, hey, why, as a listener, do I want to listen to the podcast? What do you give me? The book was saying that you have to fulfill people's instinctual needs of survival. So that's kind of difficult when you think about it because it's like, how do I apply that to things where people are not going to die, like a podcast? So I'm trying to figure that out and things like that. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, that's kind of where I've been for the last week. This website, got to work on that. The book, yeah. Oh, that's the other thing about the book too. So one thing I realized too with me and reading books, the brain works like a muscle, and because I don't read the same way I used to read, it's harder for me to read. And the more I read, the easier it gets for me to read. So I've noticed that when I read for longer periods of time, let's say that I continue to read the book or read multiple books, I can then again read more books. But to start off, it's almost like I'll start falling asleep when I read the book. I can't keep my eyes open. I start reading and my eyes start drifting off and my brain starts daydreaming about other things. And I'm like, okay, I have to focus on the book. And like I said, I equate it to lifting weights. It's like my brain is not used to focusing on something like this for this long period of time. Honestly, the only thing I would focus on for that long period of time is probably editing. And I'm not reading when I'm editing. I'm literally just watching a video, which doesn't really take much. It's focused, but it's not reading something. So I have to build the strength up in my brain to go, okay, this is something I need to read. This is something I need to get focused on. So Melissa has said to me that she feels as though that's because the book is boring. And my thought process is that no book is actually boring. It's that the person reading a book has not found the part of the book that makes it interesting to them. They haven't found a way to relate it to their life. So because of that disconnect between the person reading the book and the actual person and the actual book, it seems boring because you're reading and you're like, how does this apply to my life? It doesn't help me. It doesn't do anything for me. But I think when a person reads a book and is able to make that connection, now they can go, oh, I see why, how this character relates to me. I see why, or how I can apply this storytelling to my life. I see how, this biography, affected history of somebody that I know. But if you can't make that connection, then you're reading a book and it's just letters on a page and you can't focus on it. You're like, oh my God, what is this? And like I said earlier, I think that comes with just reading books over and over again, kind of being, what's that word? Introspective. When you be introspective, I think it helps you become it becomes easier to read more books. So the more I read this, and I think I'll be able to actually read more. And I definitely think that it'll help with my articulation. I think it'll help me to speak better. I think it'll help me to kind of formulate my sentences and my thoughts better. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm thinking about going back to writing words down. I used to have like on my notes on my phone just mad words. I would just didn't know. I'll just write them down and try to use them in a sentence. So I have the platform of the podcast, so there might be a place where I use those words. But that wraps it up for the life update and episode playback. So yeah, I listened to last week's episode. It was I would say it was okay. It was okay. I would give it like a 6.5, maybe a 7. It was like So the reason I say that is I have high standards for myself. So me, I'm looking at the intro and I'm listening to it. And I'm like, damn, I don't have the energy that I feel like I should have, which is why you might have heard for this podcast I have more energy in the beginning. For whatever reason, when I come close to the mic, I feel like because I can hear myself louder in the mic and it sounds real sultry like this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. But listening back, there's no energy to that. It just sounds like either I'm really relaxed, I'm really chilling, I'm just kind of like, it's not really giving me that kind of that like, oh, I want to hear, I'm listening, I'm engaged. I don't feel that. So like I said in a couple podcasts before this, when I speak louder, because I'm actually using more energy to speak louder, it translates to the person listening to the podcast, which in this case it was me. So remember that I gotta always have more energy in my intros, which maybe I'll apply to vlogs. The whole fake vlogging thing, I haven't figured out that formula yet, so I'm gonna have to apply that somehow. Another thing I noticed that I kind of do it for comedic effect. It was more like that kind of thing. It's kind of, yeah, that's kind of what I used to do. I don't really like the way it sounds on the podcast, so I'm probably going to stop doing that. I don't think it adds enough to the podcast for me to keep doing it. And listening to it, I do not like the way it sounds. Ooh, see, I used the non-contraction there. Got to work on that too. Today, I also was able to almost like 90% of the intro I was able to read without looking at the screen. The only thing I keep messing up on with the intro as far as trying to look at the screen would be remembering all of the, all of the projects in the order that they're in. And then also the whatever streaming services we're on. Because there's some on there that I didn't know there's Overcast and Pocket Cast and all them other casts. I'm like, I don't know where are those apps. I don't know where they are, but we're on them. So, and honestly, not gonna lie, when I look at the analytics, a lot of people listen to it on those other platforms. So here, maybe it's a non-USA thing. Maybe other countries listen to it. I don't know, but I've never even heard of Overcast and Pocket Cast and Castbox until I was doing a podcast. So, that's where Cast comes from. What else? Oh my God. So if you haven't already heard this, last week Melissa and I tried to explain, what shorting a stock was, right? And it wasn't really good. I feel like it was very cringeworthy. The first like 2-3 sets, I'm like, this is not, we don't know. I don't know what this is. Like, I don't know. Like, I think I know well enough to know in my head, but not well enough to like tell somebody else.
You left all of that on there?
Yes. Everything. All 3 takes is on there.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Why would you do that?
Yes, all 3 takes are on there. So we're sitting there like, hey, you want a stock? And you're like, yeah, I want a stock. And then it's like, damn.
You were gonna cut it out.
I was watching, because here's the thing, I was watching it, right? And it was funny. I'm like, but I feel like this is honest. So I'm like, I'm gonna leave it in here because I just think it was so funny. So like I said,
listening to it like, what the fuck is this?
That's how I listen to it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm listening to it and I'm just like, nah, they clearly don't. They clearly don't know what shorting the stock is. Obviously, they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm like, listen, person listening who was me at the time, you might be right. They might not know what the fuck they was talking about. So I thought that it was funny. Don't get me wrong. Cringeworthy at first. The first couple takes, we was just all off. Like, we was like, hey, you got to buy it to sell it, but then you don't have to buy it back from them. And then it was interest, and then the person, there's a lot going on with that. But cringeworthy for sure. Funny, cringeworthy. Should have been a TikTok. Maybe that would have been, viral or something like that. Pacing was amazing. I think my pacing on last week's episode was phenomenal. How it was on this one, I'm not sure. I have a little bit more energy to it. I wonder if that's because my intro was louder. Come on, if I start off with my energy, the whole pacing. But I definitely feel like during this podcast, I'm absolutely speaking faster. However, I do not know if I'm speaking over the threshold of what I think is too fast for the podcast when I listen back to it. So I won't know until obviously I hear it again. But I don't think it's too fast. Definitely fast, but not too fast. What do you think? You think it's too fast?
In the beginning.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna listen back to it and I'm gonna see how it sounds. I wonder also, if speaking fast, if I'm louder, do I speak faster when I'm louder or when I'm lower? But if you had to speculate, which one would you think?
I think you speak faster when you are. It depends on how you're feeling. If you're excited, you speak fast and loud.
Okay. Got you. Okay. This is the other thing too. It comes back to storytelling, right? I'm trying to get better at storytelling because that's what makes the dollars on the YouTube. But listen, if I'm storytelling, if I'm finessing a story and that shit sounds so good, I'm just great at telling stories. People gonna listen. YouTube will pay me, and all the other platforms will pay me if somebody wants to hear my story. That's great. I told a story last week, which is terrible, awful. Oh my god, oh my goodness. It was just like that. I was giving too much context to a story, and then I ended up explaining one part of the whole thing all over again. I didn't even know that. Like, I knew I had explained. I was trying to give a little bit of context for 4 interactions that I think I had with this person, and the third one, leading up to the last one, I damn near told the whole story all over again from start to finish. And I'm listening to this like, oh my god, this is not good at all. This is not good. I don't like this. So I got to work on my storytelling, which is why I have the book Story Brand by some guy that I don't know his name. But I was recommended to it by a guy named Boosley from the UK. That's what it was. Boosley, that's his Instagram. He recommended the book, so I'm reading it. I talked about it earlier, changing the intro to incorporate more of that book because I feel like I gotta get better at storytelling. Like, I think I got a little bit of it from just stuff in the past that I used to do. But I want to make my storytelling just phenomenal. Like on a Dave Chappelle level. That's what I want. I want Dave Chappelle level storytelling or Patrice O'Neal level storytelling where it's like I'm just captivating all the time. Like I said, I know it really captivates people when I do this. See? Melissa's looking at me now. See? Every time. It works every time. I'm telling you. Maybe when I'm having sex. I'm doing when I'm having sex. I'm be like, let me see. She's like, oh my God, what's about to happen? Listen. I'm about to try that. I'm gonna try that. We're gonna see. I'm gonna see. She starts laughing during sex, or if she come. We're gonna see. One or the other. Something's gonna happen. We don't know. I might start laughing. Something's gonna happen when I inhale. So if you guys do before me, let me know, because I don't have sex that much. So, let me see. Oh, the stock trading thing. That was the other thing too. I wanted to kind of fix that. They have to pay interest every month on the stock. I don't know if we talked about that last week. They have to pay interest on the amount of money that they borrow for that makes sense. So yeah, they probably interest. Wow. The stock has a price and you probably have to pay interest on that stock price because it's still technically money in a sense. It's like collateral, but it has a value. So it's almost like if I loan you this stock, I'm technically loaning you $10. So you're paying interest on that loan, which they have to pay every month, which was why people probably can't afford to have shorts for forever. I think that was it for that was it for episode playback. So this was a good episode. Last week I enjoyed it. Now Donovan's questions. Y'all know sometimes I don't be having the questions, but this time I do. Okay, now this one I want everybody to hold. Wait. Not everybody's listening. Okay. I know y'all was doing something else. Now you're listening. I know how it works. It's amazing, right? So here we go. I'll do it one more time. What would you do if someone gave you $10,000 right now? Okay. All right. Wait for it. I'm not done. What would you do if someone gave you $25,000? Okay. All right. 2 more. Actually, 1 more. I'm gonna do 1 more. What would you do if someone gave you $50,000? Okay. All right. Okay. Now, I'm gonna leave it at that. Now, what I want you to do also, I want you to remember what you would do at each level that I said. So what you would do with the 10, what you would do with 25, and what you would do with 50. That's my questions for Donovan's questions today. Okay. Now, today's topics. What are we at time wise? Got something for you to eat. 15 minutes. Okay. What am I gonna start off with? Today's topics. I'm gonna start with school. People like talking about school and LLC Twitter and LLC Instagram and LLC everything else. I don't think that school teaches you how to be great. I don't think it has the ability to do so. I don't think that it was made to do that. The reason I say that is because school does not teach you how to deal with people. Okay? It may be a byproduct of being in school, but I think that school needs to teach you how to deal with people. The reason I say that is because to be great at anything in life, you have to know how to deal with people. If you go to school, right, and let's say you're a straight A student, you were straight A student, 100% on every actually you extra credit, you get 125 on every exam. You were the top of your class, right? But you a loser. Nobody talks to you. Nobody cares about you. Now, here's why that's an issue, right? Because you want to start a business, okay? You still have to go and talk to somebody else for that business. Let's say that you want to. What's something you want to do? You want to get loan. You want to get funding for your business, right? You have to go and pitch your idea to somebody else. If you do not know how to pitch and talk to other people, you're not gonna get funding, right? Now, let me add a caveat or not a caveat. Unless got me saying that word, an asterisk to that. Okay, if you are really, really, really good at what you do, somebody will pay you even if you have terrible social skills, right? However, you will be removed from all interaction with your business because you do not know how to communicate with other people. It will have you off to the side. And what you have to do is you probably have to hire a bunch of people to do that. However, I still don't believe that school is going to teach you how to handle those kind of things. The only way, in my experience, to handle situations like that is by going out and talking to people, being with people, starting businesses. I am not a proponent of going to school. I'm not the kind of person that thinks you should go to school. I think it's, for the most part, irrelevant or what's another word? What's another word for ain't shit? Do you have any other words for that? I think not unnecessary. Are you a proponent of school, Melissa?
What's proponent?
I think I'm saying it wrong, but I'm gonna keep saying it though, because they didn't correct me.
It doesn't go to a story. Earlier you said you went from 1,100 to 6,000. You said 11,000 to 6,000.
For what?
Like 1,100 to 6,000. You said something like that. It doesn't matter.
1,100. I went from 2,000 to 600.
It's in my head.
Well, you see, now think about it. But now think about it, though. That's fine, but think about it. If you had told me that, right? If you had said, hey, that number was wrong, do you think that would have changed any of the story? Probably not. Probably not. They'll correct me if they care. If they don't, then think about it. Somebody gonna comment right now, hey, Donovan, you said,
Okay. Proponent is a person who advocates a theory.
Boom. Boom. You see? That's what I'm saying. I'm reading books. I haven't even seen that word in a book. I just, my brain starts clicking. I'm using words like proponent. Look at me.
Anyways.
Genius.
For me, if it's STEM, or if you need
STEM from what?
Huh?
STEM from what?
STEM.
From what?
Science, technology.
I think I forgot to STEM from something.
Like if it's a STEM.
I know.
Is that supposed to be me?
No, but that was making a joke. That was a joke. Like STEM, like you said, it's STEM. So I'm saying the joke is stuck. Don't worry. Go on. It's too late.
Edit that. Yeah. If it's So if it's one of those, I feel like then it's necessary. Or if you need it, for your profession, then I feel like you should go to school for it, like trade school or something like that. If you don't need it for your profession, I feel like you don't need to go to school for it, because people think, okay, school is a collection of universities and colleges present you with a collection of courses that you then you pay for in bulk. Take the course that you need. Buy courses that make sense for what you're trying to do. Get certifications for whatever it is that you're trying to do. I'm not saying to disregard education in general, but you do not need to go to a 4-year institution in order for you to get that. Because let's say that I just want to focus on real estate or something like that. I can pay probably $10,000. Let's say I want to pay $10,000 for a real estate course out of pocket. Or with some type of finances or whatever, financing or whatever. That is way less than I'd have for 4 years of student loans at a recognized institution in the United States.
Listen, here's what I just learned right now. Okay, people want to laugh at everybody else for taking these get rich quick courses. All right, you spend $50K a year to get rich quick, and you don't even have a job. Okay, you spend all that money. What's going on Twitter? You spend all this money. You spend $200,000. I have spent maybe $4,000 on courses for real estate and other things such as that. You went to school for $50,000 for what? You not even how you spend $50,000 for a get rich slow scheme? Who does that? what? Who does that? Who does that? Not me. I'm not about to spend $50K to get rich in 40 years from now. No, I'm fine. I'm okay.
And then another thing too is I feel like another problem that people face is that they feel like schooling equates to status. So if I get my PhD, then I would be amazing. Even though you do not need, if your goal is to make money, you do not need your PhD in writing or in because it's like there's things that is necessary for. But I feel like if your goal is to make more money, you have to think about how much money you're trying to make and the time frame in which you want to make it. Because it may not be necessary for you to get your PhD or something like that or your master's in order for you to get whatever it is you're trying to achieve.
You remember what that guy was doing? The Dave Ramsey guy?
He was getting his PhD for something crazy.
It was like aspirational dreaming. What was it? It was some.
I think it was creative writing or something like that.
I feel like it was something that he made up. It sounded like some wild shit. He was like, "Yeah, I'm getting my PhD in hospitality management or some shit."
Oh yes,
it was some.
Become a CEO.
Yeah,
CFO,
it was
like
it was like a creative leadership role. It was something like that. It was like he got a PhD. Yeah, he was going to school to get a PhD on how to be a CEO, which is ridiculous. I think that most CEOs that I've seen have a degree in some other shit and they just so happen to become CEO. Like, they have a degree in finance, they have a degree in marketing, they have a degree in something, and then they just happen to be good and they became CEO. They don't go to school to become a leader. They don't go to leadership school to become like a CEO. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That's the only thing. That's the thing that I feel like is crazy. There's something else I was gonna say, because the PhD in that. Oh, if you want to research something, or if that is what you are interested in, then by all means get your PhD if you are willing to pay for it and all that stuff and use the resources.
Why? Why? Why get a PhD for it? I mean, if I'm gonna learn, there's a dude that was on Joe Rogan and he said he has spent thousands of hours researching being a vegetarian or eating food, being a non-meat eater or whatever. And he knows more about nutrition and food and where it came from, how it affects you, than people who actually are in the field. Only because he researched it for hours.
That's the thing. If it benefits you to be credible from someone else, then I feel like, okay, do it through that realm, because you can have all the information. It could be correct information, but if you don't have if you don't have the documents or whatever, or the backing of an institution to then say what you're saying is credible, people will write you off. Yes. And it's up to you whether or not that'll affect you and whatever it is that you're doing. So if you want to be seen as like, listen, I'm a credible person that you could come to for information. This is my peer-reviewed articles. These are other people that have validated what I'm saying is true. Then sure, by all means, get your PhD. But if that's not what you really need for whatever it is that you're doing, then it's not necessary.
Yeah, that's something that I have to struggle with now. People don't see how great I am, and I have to have somebody else tell me or tell you how great I am, which is fine. I get it. I get it.
You need the YouTube platform.
Right. When I get right, I'm saying. And I think that's so. I'm going to get. That's what I'm going to get. When I get my YouTube plaque, that's going to be my degree. I'm going to have my YouTube degree. I'm going to put it right over here on whatever walls behind me in the future when I have my nicer house. And you know what I'm going to have on it too? I'm going to have somebody put YouTube. I'm going to have it have like a certified, or it needs to be a what do they call those things? Degree. Isn't there a word for them? Another word for degree? Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna have a diploma. It's gonna be like a diploma, but it's gonna be framed like a diploma. So, like I said, I'm not a fan of school. I went to college for like a semester and a half. Bitches got me kicked out. So I didn't really. Actually, let me complete the whole story. Bitches and racist bitches got me kicked out of school. So I'm no longer in college, and it was honestly a waste of time. I went there for human resources. Only because I had Googled it in high school and you could make six figures. That's the only reason why I did it. Other than that, who goes to school for human resources? What does that even teach you how to do? How to tell somebody you're fired? That's ridiculous. Oh, hey, you can't harass people. No, that's stupid. And I had, mind you, to make six figures, I would have had to be, it was a autonomous human resource manager. Like, I think it was like on a national level. It was just ridiculous. All I know, and it only made six figures. Mind you, I could ride my bike and more or less make $2,000 a week on a bike. And now you tell me I got to go to school, spend $50,000, $60,000 a year to do this. Listen, y'all playing stupid. That's what y'all doing. So next topic I want to kind of address, right? Got to get y'all ready for it. Did you flatulated?
Maybe.
I don't know what that smell is. But I know I'm hungry. Did I eat today? I barely. There's no fruit. Yeah, I'm about to eat some of that pizza over there.
I'm about to order pizza.
Listen, I'll eat that shit too. Listen, I'll eat something else too. You feel me? Eat all them cheesy. What you making that face for? Ain't nobody. You being nasty. That's what you talking. I'm talking about cheesy bread. I'm talking about cheesy bread. You're nasty. Melissa's nasty. The topic I want to address, right, is something that I find to be very interesting in today's day and age. It's the arbitrage business. If you don't know what that means, it is the business of you don't actually own anything. You just sell. You make money off of connecting two people, right? Like, hey, I'll give you an example. Uber, arbitrage. They have a person who wants to get somewhere. They have a person who has a car. They connect them. They get paid. Airbnb, a person who wants to sleep somewhere and a person who has a house, connects them. Wholesaling, a person who wants to buy a house, person who is selling a house. I connect both of them. And honestly, I feel like the list goes on and on and on and on. And WeWork was another one. I don't know how they're doing right now, but you have somebody who wants to have office space. We have a building. I connect both of you. Now, the reason why I think it's a strange thing that's happening is because I feel like it's so prevalent. And I'm starting to see that in this case, nobody actually owns anything. And I don't know if that's good or bad or not. Like, I'm trying to figure that out. But I really don't think that's a good idea. I really feel like it would be better to own your own cab company or something like that. Yeah, it's weird because I feel like all of the weight is put onto the person who is working in the car, the person who owns the Airbnb, the person who is renting out the Airbnb. I just feel like it's a weird thing that's happening. I really kind of want to get into it, but I want to look more into that. I know that a lot of businesses, you probably know more than I'm thinking about too. Yo, drop shipping is another one where I want to buy a product from somewhere. I go to your site, you ship me the product. You just give me if you don't know drop shipping, quick how that works. Let's say that Melissa only shops on Amazon because she loves Amazon, right? But however, eBay has cheaper prices. So what I would do is I would go on eBay, buy a water bottle, and then post the same thing on Amazon at a higher price, and I'll keep the difference. That's how that works. Drop shipping. But again, I don't own anything. And I think there's something to be said about owning something. However, because I'm broke right now, I'm about to do a lot of arbitrage because I don't have no money. So that's just kind of where I'm at, wholesaling, Airbnb. However, the goal for me is to get to the other side. I think arbitrage is in the middle. And that's why I think I don't like it. You're stuck in the middle. Like, you're not a worker, but you're not on the other side yet. And honestly, you're closer to being a worker in the middle than you are to being on the other side. The reason I say that is because at any point, a person can say to you, even DoorDash is arbitrage with food delivery. A person can say to you, hey, you're off my platform. You can't serve on my platform no more. That's one. A person can say to you, what's the other one? It's another one. I forgot the other one. Either way, I want to own real estate. You're paid too. You're not getting paid. So, it's a lot of things they can do to you. And I think it's just crazy because I really think a lot, for whatever strange reason, we're all going in this direction. And it's going to come to a point where everybody that doesn't own anything has the problem. Like, it's going to be a problem like that. Think about for Airbnb, for example, right? If I am using somebody else's apartment to Airbnb and doing to arbitrage like that, then if they decide to kick me out the house, then I'm done. Which is why Melissa and I are starting a corporate housing company. We are not doing Airbnb for the exact reason. We may utilize it, but listen, I need my money. I don't need to be. I'm buying my stuff. I need to buy my stuff, pay for it, and then have somebody come stay in it. That's the final goal, is to get to that point. But we have to build up enough capital to do so. And that's how you guys know about the Airbnb thing we're going to be doing in the future. And wholesaling, the same thing as well. I want to buy my own real estate. I actually have property in the contract right now, which I need to get to calling them. So I got to call cash buyers. So I'm going to wrap this podcast up because I need to get that bag because I have not gotten a wholesale deal yet. And I am currently trying to close this one. It's a rental property. So can you scroll up, Melissa Burnett? Thank you. So you guys already know, we are welcoming guests. We shoot between 10 and 12 on Tuesdays. Or we try to shoot between 10 and 12 on Tuesdays. It's funny enough, I don't know if it's that funny. We used to do it more when I was working because I guess we had to. So I would plan it the day before and then wake up and do it. But, now that we work from home, we're entrepreneurs. We don't really have those same schedules. But I think it'd be better for us to try and do it earlier than we're doing it now. So more things get done in the day. There's a Bamboo Project podcast page. We have clips from way back in the day on there. It's been a while. I had to stop posting them on there because it was so much work to cut up the clips, to find the clips, to post them on Twitter, to post them on Instagram, to give them a title, give them a description, give them a thumbnail, a custom thumbnail. It was just so much. And I'll be doing 7 a week, 1 every day, 14. It was a lot. So until we have enough money to hire somebody to do these marketing type of things, that will just have to sit on the back burner. But you can go and enjoy all of the old clips that I have on there. Go check out the episode, have fun, knock yourself out. If you haven't already, you can go check out our social media. Mine is Donivan Gray. Instagram and Twitter, the same thing. DONIVANGRAY. And the beautiful, amazing, phenomenal girlfriend who I love very much. She's gorgeous too, by the way. I be looking at her sometimes. I be like, damn, she's gorgeous. She think I don't be thinking that because I don't be trying to have sex all the time, but I do think I think she's gorgeous. We have the food project. We have the clothing project. We have the fitness project. Clothing project in the stores now. And you can buy it online too. All that great stuff. Music project. We have the fitness project, which is coming at some point. The sports project, which is in effect right now. And we have the Bamboo Project podcast, which you just finished listening to right now. And with that being said, Bamboo Project out.
You know that the fitness project.
Bruh, fact. I'm gonna put that out there. Shit. Oh, one more thing. You could go on the Bamboo Project Fitness Instagram. There's like 160 videos of Melissa working out from when she started to 160. 160 videos on there. Listen. And the food page. Honestly, they all have stuff on there. If y'all want to look at it, you can go look at it. It's up to y'all. But again, Bamboo Project out. For a second time.